Hi there, my name is Ewan Nicholson. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Remembering Love. If you're new to this is a channel where we explore the themes of healing childhood trauma, healing C-PTSD, and all the various things around that. If you like that kind of content, click on the like and subscribe button. I put out content pretty much every week on these subjects and it'll keep you up to date. If you're not new to this channel, welcome back. The subject of today's video is trying softer. If trying hard has got to the point where you're exhausted, but at the same time you don't want to give up, what do you do? So what we're going to do in this video is explore what is it to try softer, like what is it to come at our problems and our issues from a more gentle, more relaxed and more kinder position on one level, and what's the benefit of that and why on some level is that necessary when it comes to approaching our childhood trauma. Now, as you may be able to tell by my accent, I'm Australian. I grew up in a country town in Australia, and like many young boys and girls growing up in Australia and growing up in many parts of the world, the source of most of my problems and issues, according to my parents and teachers and sports coach, was I just wasn't trying hard enough. That if I failed an exam or I wasn't doing well at school, the issue was I didn't try hard enough. And if something happened in sport and we didn't seem to accomplish some kind of goal, we were told we weren't trying hard enough. And so this thing of trying hard, trying harder, pushing, willing, it's a very common theme in our culture. It's a very common answer as to why things don't work and things aren't successful, is for some reason we're just not trying hard enough. Now, there are some areas of life where trying hard is necessary. If you're an Olympic weightlifter, trying hard is probably really important. If you've seen the movie Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, it's an arm wrestling film, and in the middle of that film, if you yelled out, "Try softer," it's probably not going to sound right or it's going to go well. But when it comes to healing childhood trauma, when it comes to a healing process, the focus of trying hard and feeling like we are this force that has to will our way through our issues is hard to sustain, and it's problematic. Because the nature of trying hard is a little bit like an arm wrestle, where we have our dysfunctionality here, our toxicity, our addictions, whatever it may be, and then we have our effort and our desire to overcome our trauma, and we're in this kind of wrestle back and forth with one antagonistic force pushing against the other, and if we just try hard enough and long enough, boom, like Sylvester Stallone, we can win the battle against our trauma. And it just doesn't seem to kind of work that way, because the moment we win, something else pops back up and then we've got to try again. And for a lot of us, we can end up in these cycles of intense effort, focus and determination, followed by exhaustion, giving up, feeling disheartened and kind of just not bothering. And if you want a really good example of how this operates on a functional level, I can just think of my history of eating and dieting, where I'll be like really hardcore. I'm going to go full keto, I'm going to go full vegan, and I start off with this really clear enthusiasm and determination and effort. I'm going to try really hard, and then a week, 2 weeks, a month if I'm really lucky, I am binging on donuts, chocolate, fast food, whatever, and then I don't care and I feel terrible and I'm not bothered, and then I feel bad again, and you end up in these cycles. People have something similar with dating, and we can end up having a similar relationship with our healing, where we're pushing, we're battling, and then we're kind of getting exhausted. And what I'd like to explore is, what is it to try softly? And even saying trying and softly in the same sentence has a kind of weirdness to it. It's almost like it doesn't feel quite right. What is gentle effort? And I think because we associate so much of effort with force, but to think of effort with gentleness or ease, it feels a little bit discombobulating, or it feels like they don't quite go together. But they can go together. And they need to go together on one level from a sustainability point of view, and just from a sense of like getting our healing process to kind of work. Because what happens when we examine our trying hard, like I'm going to really try hard to heal this, there is an anxiety behind it often. There is a fear behind it that I don't push and I don't focus and I don't be a good boy or a good girl, then I'm going to fail and I'm not going to be loved and I'm going to be back where I started, and I don't want to do that. So I need to be really vigilant here and try really hard in order to get to where I need to get to. And there is a fear tied up in that, because what we're looking at here isn't the method of healing. We're not looking at doing TRE or meditation or having therapy or journaling or all the various things we can be doing. We're looking at how do we come at that? Like, where are we inside ourselves when we sit down to meditate? Where are we inside ourselves when we go to therapy? Where are we inside ourselves when we journal? Like, what's really going on? What's moving us? And if it's this sense of effort and force and will, then if we examine underneath that, we'll find there is a lot of anxiety and fear. So to develop gentle effort requires a trust, because there is a softness to it. There is something about it that it isn't force. And to trust that means we have to let go a little bit of feeling like we're trying to get somewhere, feeling like we're trying to accomplish something, that we're trying to overcome something, that we're not this antagonistic force up against another antagonistic force and it's the battle of who's going to win. Rather, there is this process, this gentle, soft process of where there is some effort. I mean, we're not talking about just doing nothing and just not caring, or we're not also about forcing and pushing either. And a good example of how this works operationally is in a meditation practice. In Buddhism, they have 5 hindrances which impede moving into a samadhi or a state of absorption. And one of them is anxiety and like force, where you're trying too hard, where you're trying to get there in an anxious way. And the other one is called torpor or laziness, or just where you're just too disfocused, where you're too sleepy or too wandering. And so it's this balance they're looking for in the sitting practice, where you're not pushing too hard, but you're focusing a little bit. And I think when it comes to healing our childhood trauma, that's something worth examining, that where are we coming inside ourselves? Can we exert effort, but in a way that feels gentle, in a way that feels soft? And soft has a lot of power. Think of fire as soft, water is soft, wind is soft, and think of what fire, water, and wind can do. So I think it's recalibrating or reassociating softness, that there is a power in softness, there is a power in gentleness, and it's subtle and it's uneventful, you might say, or it's not making a very loud bang, but it's there, and it moves and it operates in a way that has its own kind of gentle power or soft power. So, if you're in this healing journey and you're trying to kind of come at your childhood trauma in a way that does feel exhausting at times, or it does feel like, I've got so much work to do on myself and I've got so many issues to deal with, and it can feel overwhelming, just try to take a step back a little bit and just breathe and just say, look, I'm going to come at these issues. I do need to do the work that I'm doing, but I'm going to try approach this in a way that's more gentle, more kind, more softer, and you may find it's more sustainable. Because a lot of the time it's not necessarily the activity we're doing, it's where we're coming from inside ourselves when we're doing it. If you're given an IKEA coffee table to assemble, and you're told if you don't do it in 20 minutes you're going to be shot, you're going to do that table very differently than if doesn't matter how long you do it, we'll go for dinner afterwards. It's the same activity, but all of a sudden one is embodied with all this fear and anxiety and dread that I think I'd end up being killed. I don't think I could assemble it in 20 minutes. But that, like in the horror films or the slasher films, or the person with the key at the door, I would freak. I mean, I definitely would be able to get the key in the door. But it's how we do this. And sometimes that fear of effort and of worry and panic and we better get this is pervading itself in what we're doing and disallowing it to have maybe the full impact or the full effect of it. So trying softly is just a way to come at what we're doing, a gentle way. Sometimes when I'm agitated or stressed with my kids, my teenage daughters, they'll say, chill, Pops, which really agitates and irritates me even more. But it is true, just chill, just relax, it's okay. And how do we take that chill, Pops, or that try softly or gentle effort in a way that enables us to relax into what we're doing and to trust in the process, to trust in ourselves, to realize we're not running out of time, There isn't a stopwatch. We're not setting ourselves up to win or lose. We're just doing the best we can with where we're at and what we have, and trusting that things will just work themselves out from there. So look, I hope this has helped. I hope this has made sense. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. See all the other videos I put out. If you've got any insights or comments on trying softly or trying harder, please put it in the comments section below. Thank you very much for coming, and please look after yourself. Bye-bye.